Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Hope everyone is doing well and hope everybody is getting through each day, one day at a time, and not getting in their own heads. And it's something that every single time I go live, I talk about. And I might sound like I'm just repeating myself over and over again, but I think our minds can so easily take us to a place that we don't want our minds to go to, which is a place of fear. And so if every day, or at least every other day, I tell myself on Instagram Live, I'm reminding myself of how important it is to stay out of my head. I'm reminding myself that fear is false evidence appearing real, and I'm remaining accountable by saying it every single day. So now that that's out the way, today is a really special Instagram Live for me, because every time I've gone live, what I'm noticing during this global pandemic is that we have people coming on from all over the world. I've spoken to people in Zimbabwe, in London, Portugal, Spain, Paraguay. It doesn't matter who I talk to, where I talk to them, we're all dealing with this together. And we're all talking to each other from our home, no matter where we are in the world. And so instead of talking to people, I wanted to reach out to somebody very special who is dealing with this on the front lines. A doctor, a primary care physician, and a board certified internal medicine doctor. Somebody that's dealing with this on a daily basis, someone that we should all be grateful for, and that goes for all of the healthcare workers around the world. And so today I've invited Jason Kirakino to join our chat. Jason is a very well-respected doctor. As I said, he's a primary care physician and a board-certified internal medicine doctor. And so I'm going to bring Jason right now so that he and I can have a conversation and answer so many questions that have been coming in. And hopefully he'll be able to alleviate some of our concerns, our daily worries. I know I'm paranoid every single day about something that comes up. And so I think it's best that we hear it from an expert who's on the front lines rather than from us reading the news, Facebook, or going into our own heads, if that makes sense. Can everybody see the image clearly? Hey, Bobby. Okay, we're waiting for Jason to connect right now. Hi, Pedro from Portugal. Chris, Beard Game Strong, thank you so much. Mariana, thank you. And Mariana, I know you're one of the classics that are in their own head. So I hope that this is going to help people like yourself. Jason's having a bit of a hard time connecting, but let's just see if we can figure this out. Hola, Susito. Here we go. Jason, how are you, my friend?
James, good morning. Thank you so much for having me. Can everyone hear me? Can you see me and hear me?
I can see you, I can hear you, and we've got people from all over the world connecting as we speak. I've seen Portugal, I've seen Belgium, Los Angeles, some in Latin America. And before we even discuss any of these questions that have come in, from the bottom of my heart, a huge thank you to you, your team, all of the health workers around the world for everything that you guys are doing around the clock right now. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
James, thank you so much. You know, working with someone like you who is taking this so seriously and doing everything that you need to do to keep yourself safe, to keep your family safe, and to keep the community safe and the world safe is amazing. And it's so hard.
Amen.
So thank you for using your platform and using your time to bring people like me on to help educate the community.
Of course. No. You know something, I've been living this, breathing it, and sleeping it from the sense that the whole world is sitting in fear and worry right now. That is the reality, okay? You have people like myself who refuse to watch the news unless it's something mega that I know I need to tune into because I'm trying to remove the fear. And then you have the people that have the news playing all day long. They're on their Facebook and they're living in fear. So I think it's important for me and for anybody listening to hear it from someone that's dealing with this on the front line every single day. I know you've treated a whole bunch of COVID patients. And I know people close to you and some not, but you're dealing with it on the front lines. And I've had so many questions come in that people want answered. So I'm going to jump into it because I know your time is very precious. But the first question I have, Jason, is this social and physical distancing. What are your thoughts, your tips, and how seriously should that be taken in general?
James, thank you. You hit on single-handedly the most important thing we can do for each other and for the world. And let's just kind of break up those terms, social and physical distancing. We prefer to use the term physical distancing, and I'll tell you why. Physical distancing is me and you doing this Zoom right here together, not in the same place. Because the only way you can transfer the virus is if you're within 6 feet of each other. So by me and you physically distancing, we're reducing the spread of the virus, we're flattening the curve. However, what we're not doing is really socially distancing. We're keeping in touch. We're talking to each other. We're talking to your followers. And that's something I really want to get into really soon. Physical distancing is the single most important thing anyone can do out there. You're protecting yourself, your family, the community, and the world. Because you cannot transmit the virus if you're not with someone other than your family who does not have it.
Right, absolutely. But on the flip side of that, in many cases, we're forced to go out to get groceries, to exercise, to walk, to run. So I guess my next question to that would be, you know, if we are going to go out, for example, and we have to do certain things, recommendations there. We've got you. We can see you.
James, you just froze for 1 second. Can you
No
see
problem.
me, hear me now?
I can hear you and see you perfectly.
Okay, so let me tell you, I think your question was, we have to go out occasionally and do certain things. Absolutely. So let's family. James, you there?
I'm here. Yep, it's just spotty. I think so many people are on the digital web that it just can't, it slows down, but we can hear you perfectly. Thank you.
Great. So let's go back to your question about family having to go out. Let's do what we can do to minimize risk and minimize exposure. So what I would say is we designate one person in the family moving forward. They're the person that's going to go out and do those essential things. And what we need to first do is really figure out what really are the essential things. And you know them already. We're talking about grocery shopping. We're talking about picking up medications. Outside of that, really no other essential things. So let's say you're going to be the person that's going to do it. The first thing you're going to do is continue to enforce the physical distancing rules when you go out. Yep. Luckily, in a city like Los Angeles, our leaders are doing a great job. When you go to the grocery store now, they're controlling how many people can go in.
Yes, they are.
They're controlling how close you are to someone. They're starting to do a good job of protecting their employees because this is all about everyone. You know, they're putting up the physical shields. You know, if you have access to them, also in addition, and we don't want to make a run on masks and gloves right now, but if you have them right now, you could wear your mask as well. You can wear your gloves. And then what you're going to do is when you come back to the home, you're going to, if you have the ability to do this, take off your gloves, take off your mask, and you throw those away. Yeah. You leave all your groceries out front. You're going to do a lot of washing of your hands. Yeah. Critical here. And then you're going to bring your packages in. You're going to try your best to open them up, put them into other containers, clean them down, get rid of that garbage as soon as possible. Now, these are extra measures. These are important, but we don't, you know, those are not as important as just the physical distancing as well. Right. Okay, and that makes sense. And I hope everybody's listening. We are doing all of that. And I believe that's super important. My next question, Jason, is mental health, because so important. I'm speaking from
personally and generally? And I guess the question is, any suggestions to help people along at this time? Because as a married man, it's not natural to spend 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with your wife. As a single person, it's not natural to be home alone 24/7. And even for children, I think it's a fun fact where you're home for a few days and you're not at school, but it starts to get strange. So I guess
James, sorry, you froze. You froze for a second. I'm so sorry. We're talking about mental health, though. You hit the other
correct.
nail on the head. Something that is so important. That leads to what we were talking about before. Making sure we're still not socially distanced.
We got here
I think we're back. Sorry, we're freezing for a bit here.
perfectly. We're good.
All right, I think we're back in business now. Sorry, I think we're getting some bad tech. So yeah, let's go back to the crucial part of mental health and not socially physically distancing, not social. Like you pointed out, this is a very hard time for many people. In a normal day, without a pandemic, people are dealing with anxiety and depression all the time. So I think one of the things that might come out of this pandemic, which is going to be really positive, is kindness, is compassion.
Yes.
Are those two concepts. So how are we going to do that? We have a lot of great ideas. Number one, what we're doing right now, think about your family. Think about your friends. FaceTime them. Zoom with them. Do whatever you can. Pick up your phone. Go through your Rolodex. Find 5 people every single day that you haven't spoken to in a long time.
Absolutely.
Reach out to them, okay? Then let's really be compassionate. Think about the people in your life who might not be as blessed as we are. Think about the people in your life who are elderly, who don't have these connections. Reach out to them. Check in on them. Show them love. Show them compassion. Then for yourself inside, that's going to help you just as much as going to help them. Then for yourself, talking about being home 24 hours a day, make yourself a routine.
Yeah.
Say, I'm going to wake up as if I was going to work at the agency today. I'm going to wake up at that time. I'm going to make my family breakfast. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to exercise. I'm going to practice gratitude. I'm going to journal. Other things you can do, and this is not an advertisement, but meditation. Log on to Headspace. They're doing an amazing job of giving free things to providers. They're going ahead and just providing excellent meditations. If you are really feeling down and reaching out to other people is not working, reach out to your physician. We're here for you right now. In addition to that, there's other apps out there. Again, not an ad, but Talkspace. There's been ads for that. Get yourself a therapist. But staying in touch is so critical during these times.
Thank you so much. It's so funny. I'm going to show you something, Jason. These are my crazy notes I write every single day. And on here, it's about having a routine, exercising, schedule, gratitude list. Everything you just said are things that I'm actioning in my life right now every single day. And I could not agree with you more on everything you just said. You have to stay right here. You really do.
And we did not plan that, everyone.
That is for sure. So my next question is an interesting one. So many people every day, on every phone call I have, on every email, we're talking about this coronavirus, right? Every conversation, whether it's a family, it's a friend, it's a client, it's all we seem to talk about, right? And what's happening is, naturally, there's so much anxiety going around, there's so much fear going around that we have the coronavirus. I must have it. I've got a headache. I've coughed. I'm sweating. I think I might have a temperature. My question to you is, what symptoms should we be looking for? How much of this is in our head? What symptoms should we be looking for? And how do we know if we're actually showing signs of this virus?
Absolutely. Such an important question. You hit on some important things, and we'll get into the medical science also.
Yes.
If we're working on kind of our headspace all along, more than likely, some of those things won't happen as frequently. However, we have to take this condition very seriously. Of course, going back to what we're doing, James, the rest of your family, if you're doing your job at this point, physically distancing, your chances are much, much, much lower overall.
Right.
However, we can get sick, those trips to the grocery store, as careful as you are, it could still happen, because the virus is out there and there's community spread. What you're going to look for are very important things. You're going to look at your temperature. Okay, because 85 to 90% of these cases ultimately have fever.
Yeah.
Cough is also very important. You can have cough for a myriad of things, allergies, reflux. However, this very particular dry cough that comes out of the blue that you haven't had for a while can also be a sign. Those are two of the very big ones. One of the ones that is kind of rare, but excuse me, not rare, is very interesting, but also we have to keep an eye out for, is all of a sudden out of the blue not being able to smell. We call it a nose bleed. We have to have fancy words for things or I wouldn't have a job, but not being able to smell or taste. Now, I want people to really understand, though, there is a wide range of what happens with this illness. For instance, my wonderful parents in New York right now, they are both positive, but they're stable. They just have fever and cough, but they're doing okay. They have not progressed. So someone might be COVID positive, but only have a loss of sense of smell. So the important thing there is to, one, talk to your doctor, two, to start isolating, exactly, not actually taking the trips out. You're not the person for the family then. And three, going over that with your doctor. What we're finding is this disease, there's many, many states that we have to keep an eye out for. But those two major things first, fever and cough, the first sign to speak to your doctor. In fact, this is a good time just in general to be communicating with your doctor at any symptom. The key for us and me and you to help the community and to help the real, I'm an outpatient doctor. I'm not in the hospital. We have to protect those heroes, the nurses, the respiratory techs, the ICU doctors. Our job is to keep everyone out of the emergency room. So please call your doctor and we can keep you out of the emergency room that way.
Love that. Thank you. And by the way, the fact that you're doing this kind of with such a positive mindset, and I'm just really grateful right now that we're actually doing this. This is so helpful for me, for anyone watching. And I hope a lot more people will see this once we're off, because this is just incredibly helpful. And I think all the information you're giving us is universal. It doesn't just count for Los Angeles or California or America. This is universal knowledge and information. So thank you. Next question. And again, this is not to put you on the spot. This is a question I kept getting over and over. In your opinion, and I guess we have to discuss more countrywide than universally, how much longer is this going to continue for?
Absolutely. So we've done a lot of research, and there are amazing physicians and scientists out there. Dr. Anthony Fauci is someone people should definitely be following and reading about and listening to his updates. These are all models, James. That's the key.
Yeah, of course.
There are different ways to predict this through epidemiology, looking at numbers, how fast the virus transmits. If we want to be safe, and again, this is not medical advice or me being an epidemiologist, just reading all the studies. This first initial wave, we're going to have to deal with from now, probably through June, July. We're definitely going to have social distancing and physical distancing in place at least until May. And at that point, each city will evaluate where we are. What is the hospital access like? How many people have been infected? So coming back to us, the simple things are really the most beautiful things in this, is continuing to do what we're doing now for as long as we can is the safest thing. On the back end, the scientists will be working out, okay, we'll have new testing. We'll have the ability to check your blood to see if you have antibodies. So that can tell us who's safe to be out, who's not safe to be out.
Right.
We're going to know that. That's coming. Don't rush your doctor asking about that yet, but it will be coming. So I would say hold tight for at least the next month or two. Keep doing what you're doing, and we're going to have a much better picture come June, July.
I
Of
love
course,
that.
I hope
Yeah.
it's earlier, of course.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we're hoping for the best and preparing for the worst here.
Absolutely. And I think everybody should be doing that, because if we all take this seriously universally, we can control that curve. We can quite literally save our parents, our grandparents. It's amazing that we have this much control right now as human beings, but we really, really do, from what I understand.
It's one of the first times that being purely altruistic is doing nothing, is staying right there.
Yeah, yeah. And by the way, if our lives were completely normal without COVID and somebody said, I want you guys to just take a vacation and do nothing, hello. So I know that this is at the expense of so many people losing their jobs, and this is bad. I mean, unemployment numbers will get released today. They're saying it's 6 million people and jobs lost. It's just terrible. But this is it, guys. We have to control our actions. By doing so, we stay home, we save lives, we create that curve. We get to move from being in this situation to moving back to our normal lives. Next question. And again, you probably don't have the answer. In fact, you don't have the answer, but I would love your opinion, which is, when do you think we could have the vaccine to treat COVID-19?
You know, James, you bring up a great point. And one of the things that's so heartening is seeing people work together for the first time. You know, this is literally, if you do the research right now, one of the few times that the entire scientific community is working on one thing together. They're sharing data. Scientists used to not share data. They're sharing it. So this will be, you know, again, my opinion, the fastest creation of a vaccine in mankind's history.
Amazing.
Now, that being said, we still have to be safe. You know, we can talk, we can move this into another conversation, talking about medications that people might have heard on the TV, things like that. It has to be safe. We can't, our first job is to protect you and to know that something is safe. So anywhere from, you know, 12 to 18 months is really, realistically, the earliest it can happen.
Got it. So 12 to 18 months is the expectation from the knowledge and information that we have today, right now.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
And actually, you mentioned that. Are there any medications that we know factually today that have been approved to help with this virus? Not treat it, but help with it? Because I have seen on the news, and I did see the president of the US talk about, I forget the name, Clydra something's a word that I'll never be able to say. But are there any approved medications that will help? Because there's a lot of talk going around, and I'm curious on that.
James, this is such a good question, and thank you for bringing it up. It's very important, especially for us sitting here and for all our followers sitting home, feeling well. You know, even if they're mildly sick, the medications we're talking about and that people spoke about are not for us sitting here in our houses. These are for the people who are in the hospitals, in the ICUs, who are very, very sick. There are numerous medications, you know, 10 to 15 right now, that they're trying and testing, but we have to be scientific about it. Even if a medication like plaquenil, hydroxychloroquine, like you said before, that medication might work for one person, but it might really hurt someone else. So we have to know it works for as many people as possible. So any medications right now should really be reserved for people in the hospital. And the really scary thing is, why we have to do our part, is some of these medications are medications that people with real health conditions prior to COVID need every single day. So someone with autoimmune, you know, someone like my wonderful wife who has some autoimmune conditions, she needs these medications to be safe and to have the supply chain safe. So someone who doesn't have any symptoms or is thinking about hoarding this, please do not ask your doctor for it. Do not try to obtain it from somewhere else. It could hurt you, number one, and we need those medications for other people. The second, the scientists and the doctors in the hospital have treated enough people and can prove that it's safe and works, it will be approved.
Yeah.
But again, for people who are sick in the hospital. So thank you so much for bringing that up.
And thank you for answering. And I know we don't have much time left with you. How important, Jason, is it right now to be wearing masks, or I forget the word they've been calling it in the news today, but a wrap around your face? And how important is it to wash your hands on a consistent basis? I know it's important, but could that be a matter of getting this virus and not by covering your face and washing your hands?
Yeah, let's go with the hand washing and not touching your face first. Hand washing is hands down the biggest thing we can do outside of physically distancing. Anytime you're in contact with a surface where you're outside, you washing your hands properly though, for 20 seconds at a time. You know, there's great videos out there. We can maybe circulate some stuff later on in the New England Journal of Medicine, CDC, how to properly wash your hands. Properly washing your hands, then doing a good job of, we always do it all the time, but not touching your face. You know, we all do it all the time, trying your best there. The mask question, you know, it's a great question, but it's a complicated question. One of the very first things we need to do is to continue to protect our healthcare workers. This kind of mask right here is an N95 mask. These are the masks that our healthcare workers on the front lines need every single day. So a couple of things. If you have followers out there who might have a big stock of these from, you know, the fires that happened in Los Angeles, keep 1 or 2 for yourself, but the rest should go to Cedars, UCLA, Providence St. John's. You know, they need these. Regular masks, things like surgical masks, we might come to the point where it's recommended for everyone. It's not quite yet. If you're doing your your distancing, it should be okay. And also, we don't want to create a rush that healthcare providers don't have them right now. Now, I'm not going to tell you that, you know, 6 months from now when we're relaxing on this, maybe each family gets, you know, small supply for themselves to prepare themselves if this happens again. Absolutely. You know, but right now, if you have them, great. If you have a lot of them, give some to the healthcare providers. Yeah. Continue to wash your hands and not touch your face.
Please. I mean, that is so important. If anybody has these masks, your local hospitals need them. And that's what I keep seeing over and over is do not hoard these N95 masks. Your local hospital health workers need them. And get a scarf, get a bandana. I've seen some great memes of mask alternatives. I think I saw a G-string. That was an interesting one. Joking aside, let people in the healthcare industry keep those N95 masks. Now, on to a very important question, which I don't even want to ask, but I saw it come up 3 times. Why is it that completely healthy people with no pre-existing medical conditions, they've never smoked, they've exercised every single day of their lives, are dying from this disease? Is there a black and white answer to that question, or is there a reason, or does it just come for anyone, any walk of life? Or how is that happening?
Yeah, it's a great question, James, and it's a hard question, a question that people are working on kind of around the clock. You know, when this first started, you know, when we were looking at the COVID epidemic from a distance, you know, China, we were reading data saying this is something that really only affects older people, you know, immunocompromised people. Everyone else might be safe. As it came over, we're quickly finding out that's not the case. You know, if we look at the data in the US, while yes, unfortunately, many of the deaths are still in immunocompromised and older people, people requiring what we call higher levels of care, i.e. not just coming to see me in the outpatient clinic, but being in the hospital, needing a ventilator. That range really runs, you know, 20 to 54. So it's anyone. We don't know. We're looking for all these possible things. We know, you know, we're seeing individual stories, and that might actually not be the whole story. We know things like smoking definitely put us at risk. We know that being immunocompromised puts us at risk. We know that having diabetes puts us at risk. We know that having heart disease puts us at risk. The rest of the things, we have to keep doing our part and trying to figure out. We don't know yet. But again, you make a very, very important point that people like us who are younger, who are healthier, might feel that this can affect us, that we're immune to this. We saw these stories of spring break going on, you know, in Florida just a week ago. Those are going to be positive patients. So again, don't be a hero, you know, protect yourselves, protect everyone else, and stay home and don't go to these gatherings.
Thank you. That is, yes, so helpful, because I think, you know, I certainly, before this whole thing blew up and became as serious as it was, I went to Coffee Bean and I had these pink gloves on that I've been wearing because it was the only ones I could get, and a mask. And these 2 maybe 18-year-olds pulled up in a car next to me, and they were cracking up laughing at me. And I looked at them, I said, "Why are you laughing?" And they said, "You look ridiculous." I said, "I understand, but I'm taking what's happening right now very seriously." And I could just see on their faces, they just this wasn't something that they could even comprehend as being serious. So it's so important that the younger generation take this seriously now, not just for themselves, but to save the lives of so many others. So yeah, I mean, please, if you're younger, take this seriously. Next question, Jason. What are the most common myths about this virus that physicians should dispel for patients? There's so many rumors. Is there, like, what is it that we should stop focusing on that is a myth, in your opinion, versus the truth that you're seeing over and over, or receiving phone calls about, and things of that nature, if anything?
No, it's a fantastic question. I think we actually just started talking about it. One of the biggest myths that me and you continue to work on disproving is that you are safe because you are young and because you are healthy and you have no pre-existing conditions. That is hands down the biggest myth that we need to bust right now. I think number two is also important, is that we have treatments that we should have in our house, stockpiling. Those are the hands down the two biggest myths, without question.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, I got one more, and then maybe we can see. I've seen a lot of questions come in here. This is an interesting question, and this is going back to just an opinion. Take SARS, flu, HIV, all of these pandemics that have happened many, many years ago, before we had the internet, social media, and we were able to blow this up the way it's been blown up. Do you think that today, due to the fact that we are glued to our computers and Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, do you think that social media has blown this virus up to bigger than what it A, really is, or B, to give people the mindset that they might have it when they don't, versus 20, 30 years ago when we didn't have the internet and people weren't so readily exposed to the information that's being pushed to us? It's more of a curiosity question than anything else.
It's a well thought out, beautiful question. It really is. And I think what we need to do is, it's allowing us, in many ways, it is creating anxiety. However, it is providing information that we wouldn't have had. And I think as long as we use it to the best of our ability for good things, the ability to have Zoom conferences, the ability to FaceTime. But just to go back, let me come back for a second.
Yes.
Yeah, this is as serious as anything we've ever faced. I think that message, as long as it's given, with honesty and science and compassion, is important to know. So to ask you the first piece of that, it's definitely not being overblown because of social media and the internet. However, we have to be cautious. And going back to our mental health routine, I definitely recommend people set boundaries for themselves as to how much news they consume.
Absolutely.
Give yourself a digital detox. You're going to get a lot more benefit FaceTiming with a friend and a loved one as you are watching the continuous news feed over and over again. So build that into your mental health routine, but then turn to the great resources. Someone like you doing this Instagram Live right now, the CDC publishing great data, things like that. But again, mental health, number one.
Fantastic, Jason. You've been amazing. Let me know if this question comes up on the screen for you from Monique. Can you read that?
Absolutely. Could it be possible that some of us had this 2 months ago and didn't even realize it? That's a fantastic question, and probably true. We're going to be able to go back at some point and really trace this back. One of the really exciting future developments is, right now what we're doing is testing people with a nasal swab to see if they have the active virus. Your body, when the virus is in there, goes ahead and creates a response. It starts fighting a war. It starts attacking the virus. And once it attacks the virus, it creates a memory, an immune system to it, antibodies to it. So soon, again, don't rush any doctor's office, keep calling, but we will have testing where we can check your blood to see if you have antibodies to it. If you have antibodies, you had it 2 months ago. Again, it's very interesting because people have such different symptoms that you could have very well had it back then, assumed it was the flu. Maybe you weren't swapped for the flu, and that was it. And you'll have protection now.
Fantastic. And then a question that I've heard mixed rumors on: if you did test positive for COVID, are you then immune to COVID?
Moving forward,
Correct.
Well, we have to think about a few things. First, just like you point out, if you test positive right now, we have to do everything possible to keep you isolated,
Of
within your home,
course.
not traveling, do everything, following guidelines, thinking about being without a fever for X amount of days, 3 days, not having any symptoms for 7 days, overall quarantining for 14 days.
Yeah.
You more than likely, again, this is just the science is going to play this out over time. This isn't medical advice per se. You more than likely will be less susceptible right now during this round of it.
My question is, if I get this virus now, I quarantine, can I get it again in 6 months, or am I then free and clear of getting this virus?
We're going to need to see, it is a virus. It can slightly mutate that you might have, additional symptoms if it comes back again, next winter, things like that.
Right. Okay. So couple more here that have come in. Trump said that he expects that the next 2 weeks are going to be the worst of it. Then it's likely that the numbers are going to start improving. Is that something that we know to be a fact in at least the United States?
Very important question. And again, we have to look at each individual city and region of the United States and where they are in terms of the spread right now, in terms of their numbers. The next 2 weeks are very important just to see the direction it goes, but it could be peaking. New York is really getting ravaged by it right now. It could be peaking in different places at different times. So again, we have to really keep moving forward, thinking about the longer term. Like I said before, May, June, really doing what we're doing right now.
Perfect. Thank you. So, Jason, as I know that you do need to go very soon, let's just ask anyone that's following us and watching this now, if you have a question. Jason, do you have time for maybe 3 more questions?
Let's do 3 more.
Let's open this up to questions. If I don't see any come in. Hello from Italy. Our thoughts and prayers are certainly with you. Puerto Rico, I've seen Australia. Type in a question here in the comment section, and we will go through 2 or 3 more questions because I know Jason is very busy. And again, Jason, you mentioned your parents both tested positive. I'm so sorry to hear that, and our thoughts and prayers are with your parents, and I hope they're doing okay as well, by the way.
Thank you so much. They're doing as well as possible. They're home. They're not in the hospital, and we're checking in with them daily. They're doing great. They're great people.
Fantastic. Do you also throw these masks away every time you use them? From Mariana.
It's a fantastic question. In an ideal universe, we had access to unlimited masks for everyone. Right now, we know that's not the case. So we want to protect them as much as possible. So no, you would not be throwing them away right now. You're still going to have more protection reusing that mask than you would having no mask.
Got it. Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much. So if you do have a mask, maybe you leave it outside for a few days after you've worn it, or what do you recommend there?
One of the simplest things you can do is keeping it in a brown paper bag.
Brown paper bag?
Lets it breathe a little bit, and it's safe.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Let's go to one more question. For pregnant women, how does this affect them, and what can they do in case they feel sick? Should they go to the hospital? Should they stay home? Can COVID affect the baby?
It's such an important question, and one that we've been working on, around the clock as well. Right now, the literature shows that pregnant women and their fetus are not at increased risk of COVID and not at increased risk of having severe complications secondary to COVID. So that's amazing news. Again, we hope that continues to bear out, but that's where we are right now. The follow-up to that is 100%. Do not head to the emergency room unless you're having severe symptoms. Start by calling your doctor or your OB-gynecologist.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Jason, there are so many more questions here, and to be honest, I could probably ask you about 900 of my own questions
we'll
now.
do a longer one. We'll do a longer one in a couple of days. How about that?
I just want to say I have goosebumps. I really do, because I know how busy you are. I know this means a lot to you, for other people to hear what's going on. I hope we can do this again, but from the bottom of my heart, I thank you for doing this, because I know You've probably alleviated so many people's concerns and thoughts with all of these answers. And I hope that maybe we could do this once a week. I don't know. But as things are changing every hour, every day, there's news, there's new information coming up all the time. And so if we could check in with you and these questions come in and you answer them, this is just being of service in my mind to everybody out there, and I think helping everybody. But thank you so much.
James, you're so welcome. And again, you'll find, and for a lot of people, just checking in with someone really makes the difference. You know,
Yeah.
Again, I'm giving all the credit where it's due to the people, the nurses, the respiratory techs in the ICUs. I'm doing my part by talking to people, seeing patients if there is an emergency to keep you out of the emergency room. But I'm finding that people are just so grateful just to ask these questions and to have a place to have answers. So again, I encourage everyone out there, talk to your doctors, talk to your friends, talk to your family, and come back and talk to James and I once a week now moving forward.
Absolutely. And by the way, I'll end on this. Mum, if you are watching this, stop watching the news, call 5 friends every morning, keep cleaning your apartment, and stay home. Jason, I hope your parents get better soon. I look forward to checking in, hopefully again, maybe this time next week. And again, we are so grateful for everything you're doing. And if there's anything we can do to help the healthcare workers, i.e. if there's some way that we can give back to our local hospitals, let us know. I'd love to promote that as well. And I will be reaching out to you to schedule something like this again very soon.
James, thank you so much. It's been amazing. You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
And thank you for imploring your followers to keep doing what you're doing. You're setting the example.
Thank you, my man. Take care. Go take care of people.
Bye,
and we appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Bye-bye.
Bye, Jason. Bye-bye. Wow, guys, that was truly amazing. I'm feeling extremely grateful right now. Monique, he is the best. It's quite incredible that Jason, as a doctor, is making himself available. Outside of this Instagram Live, I can tell you, I've texted him probably 100 times about my mum, about myself, and this is a man who responds within half an hour. So it's just a beautiful thing that we have good people in the world that are prepared to give back. Look, to anybody watching, please realize this is serious, okay? I've seen a couple of comments that people like to give analogies of one person dies an hour because of this, that, and the other. Who cares? This is a serious disease, illness, virus. We need to get over it as a country. We're all stuck at home right now, and we're all figuring out ways to make this better. So one day at a time, one person at a time, we can single-handedly be responsible for creating that curve. I want to be a part of that, and so I'm going to respect all of the guidelines. Again, I'm going to be doing more of this. I believe this coming Sunday, I'm going to be doing an exclusive class on a different platform, which is more targeted towards real estate and staying positive through this time. So there will be more information on that to come. How tall am I? Well, I like to say I'm 5'9". My wife likes to remind me that that's not true. I'm probably 5'6". But that was a great question. Thank you. Anyhow, guys, ladies, stay positive. Write your gratitude lists. Look at this. Notes every day, more notes. I'm telling you, get up every morning, get in that shower, do your hair, put on cologne, smell good, feel good, look good, and try and continue right now as normal. Set up a structure, get up and work out, whether it be in your house, go for a hike if you're going to keep a social distance in your neighborhood, walk the dog, whatever it is that you do. Stay sane, stay happy, keep smiling. Thank you so much for checking in. Jason, if you're still watching, you are the man. Thank you. And we will be back very soon. Mwah. Love you guys. Thank you so much for checking in. Bye-bye.